Top of it, top of it, top of it. It's your boy, Coach One Stack, man. Tapping in, y'all. Dropping y'all another video, man. But this time, we're going to be talking about your boy, man. We're going to take it way back for a lot of y'all youngsters, and y'all might not know about this. We're going to talk about Chris Stokes, because right now, his ex-wife is saying that he is a pedophile and been on the down low. And y'all remember them B2K days, guys. But before I get into this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, and smash that notification bell. And make sure you spread the channel, guys. You know, in order to know where we going in life, we got to know where we came from. And first of all, Raz B from B2K, to my knowledge, was one of the first people amongst my generation to actually come out and say what had happened to him. Now, who is Chris Stokes? Chris Stokes is the manager. He was the manager over B2K. He pretty much invented B2K. He had a lot of influence over Immature, which Marques Houston was a part of that group. And he was their manager. He lived with them. And, you know, it was a time that Raz B came out onto the internet when the internet was new. So a lot of y'all might not remember this. And when he came out and he was talking about the things that Chris Stokes made him and Lil Fizz do. He talked about how Chris Stokes had him and Lil Fizz in a room and making them use their lips on each other. He even talked about how Lil Fizz was the first one to bottom out. You dig what I'm saying? If you don't know what that is, figure it out. Because I've been hearing some really nasty rumors about Lil Fizz and, you know, and Omarion. That's why Omarion always seems to be mad. And I guess this is why Omarion and Lil Fizz, you know, be having these problems with April, you know, which is Omarion's baby mama, because they go way back. And it's a little twist to this story, y'all. I do want you to know that during this time, when the whole B2K thing was going on, I've been said it on my channel, but I got a video to just like prove a little bit of what I've been talking about. Man, Ray J was a part of all of this stuff way back in the day. See, Chris Stokes used to have them doing stuff to each other in this room, in this bed, with this big white polar bear in it. You understand what I'm saying? So this abuse amongst these kids in the industry has been going on for quite some time. I'm going to do some more research and get the right videos, and I'm going to really show y'all about what Nickelodeon was doing and Disney was doing. Like, it runs deep how these industry kids have been used and abused. But guys, it's a shame that when people come out and tell the truth, like Raz B did, people thought he was crazy. Like, I was much younger at the time when this came out, and I was like, man, Raz B is just like, he's going insane. But then I realized, you know, that you know, a man is not going to talk about how another man have done something to him unless it happened. Raz B and another man from the rainbow community even had a phone call, a live phone call, which I can't play on here, but you can find it yourself on YouTube, because I don't know how to delete out all the stuff that's not supposed to be heard on YouTube. And they talk about how Marques Houston is not circumcised and how it hurt when they bottomed out for him. And, you know, and they was pretty much crying. They comparing those two people that never met each other. And then you notice that Marques Houston and Chris Stokes, they disappeared for a while. And they came back and they started making movies, y'all. But the damage had already been done. What happened to Omarion? Where's J Boog? You know, Lil Fizz, you see him sitting around. I hear he has a video with his backside that's gaping wide open. So I hear. I don't know. I ain't seen it. So that's allegedly. But, you know, Raz B has been the open to talk about everything, every single detail that he went through, guys. So, you already know, man. Let me show you this video and you prove it for yourself. But, God, man, we need to really get together in a big way to help a lot of these men come to terms with their sexuality. And these children need protection. When you putting these kids in this industry, and especially around like that R. Kelly stuff and this Diddy situation, and, you know, Chris Stokes was Diddy before he was Diddy. Well, no, Diddy came first. Well, you know, but Chris Stokes, man, y'all forget about him. He played a major role in this stuff. And and like I said, this is where Ray J got a lot of this stuff from. He was involved in all of this during this time. But let me let you guys hear this video.
You can get away with this, honey, when I tell you his wife is speaking out. She said she married him back in '04, and honey, she got a lot of stuff to tell. And she said that Chris is a pedo. He's been touching on their kids too. He goes around touching on kids, I think his specialty is boys, but he might not discriminate. He might be with girls too. Little boys, little girls. Be careful with your kids around Chris Stokes, honey. The wife is saying this. She says she's tired. She want to speak out. She says she witnessed him messing with kids and messing with her kids, and she ain't want to say nothing because he was so powerful, Chris Stokes, and she was so in love. But now the love spell is over, honey, and she's ready to tell everything. But she says she want that money now. They looking for the highest bidder to do an interview. So if you got some money, you want to interview her, let her know so she can spill everything. Now, people are already saying, they said, well, Raz B already told us that he's messing with the boys. Yes, honey. He had Omarion being about him. He had Raz B be about him.
They must be insane. They gave me this Cuban chain and
I
bracelet
told
for
you.
free. Cartiz is giving away free Cuban chain.
He had all Lil Fizz and that J Boog. They all bottoms too. And he had them messing with each other. That's what Raz B said a long time ago. And they say Ray J, he's in the mix too. Ray J get down with them. He was making them do it with Ray J. He was making them do it with the boys. Immature, all three of them. They was in cahoots. They had freak-offs like Diddy. You know, like Diddy freak-off parties, honey. They was doing them same thing with them B2K boys, some immature boys, Ray J, Bow Wow. And they said Omarion and Ray J was in a whole relationship, honey. That's why they was doing all the albums and stuff, girl. Honey, you ain't know about that? Allegedly, that's what I'm hearing. But, honey, Chris Stokes' Chris Stokes' wife, ex-wife, wife, whatever, she's coming out and she's about to let it all out. And I'm going to be tuned for this. And anything she say, you know I'm going to have to tell y'all about it. A lot of people are saying, girl, you need to get on out of here. They say you need to get locked up too because you've been doing this all this time. You've been sitting on this all this time. They say you ain't nothing like a Kelly. You just like Kelly Price. Because Kelly Price says she's been up in a church and them gospel men singers have been a pedo too towards little boys. Young man, 16, 12, 13, 14. Yes, they Eddie Long and the boys and men in church, girl. Kelly Price said she been knew that. She been sitting on it.
And I'll give y'all the rest of that video later on, man, because this is really about Chris Stokes and B2K. You know, see, Chris Stokes was a different type of predator and pedo, you know. And as you see, even his own wife has accused him of touching their own children. Now, you sit and say, well, damn, coach, man, why would she let this go on? I personally have a friend, God rest her soul, who was victim. So a lot of this stuff gets passed down from generation to generation. And what I'm finna tell you is a very true story. I had a personal friend of mine, you know, I met when I was 16, she was 15. Her sister and her brother, they all had different fathers. And her mother used to let her husband, being the son's father, the youngest, touch the children. All three of them, gave them herpes. So all three of them had herpes. And when they grew up, you know, she had herpes, the younger sister had herpes, the little boy had herpes. My friend ended up being very promiscuous. Her sister ended up being a 304, and the son ended up being homosexual. Well, as time went on, my friend, she allowed her husband to do the same thing to her children. This was a taught behavior. And where's my friend right now? Gosh, she's sitting in the grave. Why? Because her and her husband got arrested for this stuff. And when she decided to turn state evidence, he was on house arrest. He deleted my friend, put her in the trunk of her BMW, drove her to a location out here in Las Vegas, right? Went home, called the police, and told the police that he had not seen his wife. And that man just currently went to prison for it. And I can post his mugshot and his charges and everything. But this was a learned behavior. So with the whole Chris Stokes thing and his wife allowing this stuff to go on, you never know what his wife's parents let go on. But with Chris Stokes, see, he was into it, but he was making the boys like Raz B, Lil Fizz, J Boog, Omarion, Marques Houston, making them bottom out. But Marques Houston was not the bottom. Marques Houston was the top. If you look at the previous footage, and you might be able to still find it if you pull up Raz B's footage, you might be able to find these conversations where, you know, Marques Houston was the one pitching, and they would talk about how he was not circumcised, his size, and how bad it hurt when he penetrated them. So in other words, Chris Stokes was sitting back having them do things to each other, and Marques Houston was the one doing the sticking, and J Boog, Omarion, Raz B, and Lil Fizz were the ones taking. And he was having them put their mouth on each other, guys. Raz B Ben said it, but everybody thought he was mentally ill. So, guys, go check the footage for yourself. But I got more to that video I'm going to break down a little bit later, man. But, guys, if you like the content, man, hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and make sure you share this content. And leave in the comments if you feel that a lot of these parents are giving their kids away to the industry. If they're just basically just selling their kids away, knowing that this stuff is going on for a little bit of fame. But other than that, you know the rest. Be blessed. Don't ever get stressed. Make sure you never get finessed. And get plenty of rest. And stay out of trouble.